Alright, so in the last video we finished up the update functionality, so we're now able to create, read, update, and delete bookmarks. Now I want to jump in and just create some very simple authentication using Meteor. Alright, but before we get into that, we want to take some steps that are necessary before going into production. And one of those is to remove the insecure package. Now this is enabled by default, and it allows us to easily prototype and make all of the data accessible to any user, things like that. But before you go into production, you're going to want to remove that. So to do that, we're going to say Meteor remove insecure. Alright, so that went ahead and removed it, and now what we want to do is we want to add the accounts package, or the accounts password package, and that allows us to have a username and password. So we're going to say Meteor add accounts dash password. Alright, now to integrate it with Meteor, we're going to go ahead and run Meteor npm install. And let's add the save flag, and the name of the package is angular2 meteor accounts UI. Alright, now we're going to go to the app.html file, and let's go right under this container div, and we want to put in login buttons and save. And to be able to use it, we're going to go to app.ts and we need to import it. Login buttons, and that's going to be from the package that we just installed. Okay, and then we want to add that into the directives. Save it. Now we want to also add another package so that we can use Sass, which is a CSS precompiler. So we want to say Meteor add, and then we want to say 47s, I believe. 47's SCSS. Actually, you know what? It's 47, no S. Now, SCSS allows you to use things like variables and mix-ins, which are kind of like functions for CSS. There's all kinds of things, so you may want to look into that. There's Sass, there's also less, which is another type of precompiler. Alright, we're not going to really get into it too much. I just want to install it and then just import the login buttons styling. Alright, so now let's go to our editor here, and let's create a folder inside client called CSS, and then inside there we'll have a file called main.scss. Alright, and we're going to import the login buttons styling in here. I'm just going to paste it in. Okay, so you just want to throw that in there and save it. Alright, so now that all that's done, let's go to our command line and run Meteor. Alright, so it looks like we have an error here. It says that two packages are trying to handle Sass or SCSS. We have 4.7, which we installed, and then also Angular 2 compilers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, Control C, and then let's uninstall the 4.7 package. Okay, there must have been some kind of update to Angular where Angular 2 compilers is taking care of SCSS. So Meteor remove 47 SCSS. Okay, that should remove it. Alright, so that was removed. So now let's try to run Meteor again. Alright, so let's try and reload this. Okay, now you can see we have a login link. If I click that, it pops open this form with email and password. Now obviously we don't have an account, so all we have to do is click sign up, and that just kind of switches it to a sign up form. Alright, so let's say test@test.com, create a password, sign up, and it automatically logs us in. Now what we want to do is we want to make it so that we can only add a bookmark if we're logged in. So we can do this in the collections file. So collections and then bookmarks.ts. Alright, and let's go up here. And we're going to import Meteor. And that's going to be from Meteor/Meteor. And let's go underneath this bookmarks, and we're going to say bookmarks.allow. Alright, so we can set different permissions in here for different things. So we'll pass in an object here, and we're going to say insert, set that to a function, and we're going to say let user equals meteor.user. Alright, and then we're just going to return and then double exclamation user. So what this is saying is that there has to be a user in order to insert a bookmark. Okay, there has to be a logged in user. Now we also want to do this for update and remove. So I'm going to just copy this here, and we're going to paste this in twice, and then change this one to update and this one to remove. All right, same stuff, same functionality. So let's save it. So let's now go over to our application, and I'm going to sign out. Okay, I'm not logged in now, and I'm just going to try to add something here. So submit, and you can see that it doesn't add. Okay, it doesn't let me add it because I'm not logged in. So now let's go and log in. And we'll go and try to add something. Let's say MSNBC. News, submit, and you can see that I can now add it. Now the thing with this is, no matter what user we're logged in as, we can still edit and delete everyone's bookmark. Okay, so for instance, let's log out and let's go ahead and sign up as a different user. We'll say test2@test.com. And let's say, actually, let's go to one of these, MSNBC, and we'll change this to, we'll just say changed. Submit, and if we go back, you can see that that's changed. I was able to edit it. Alright, and we don't want that to happen. People should only be able to edit their own posts or their own bookmarks. So we're going to go to our form component. Let's see, components, bookmark form, right here, bookmark form.ts. Now what I want to accomplish here is when we submit a bookmark and we're logged in, we want that user ID or that owner ID to be stored in the database. Alright, so down where we have add bookmark, we're going to wrap around this another if statement. Alright, and then we're going to say if meteor dot user ID. Okay, so this is basically saying if we're logged in. If we're logged in, then we want to do this same thing we've been doing. Let's go ahead and just cut that and then paste that in there. Alright, so we'll do the same thing we're doing, and then else we just want to alert. We want to alert them to log in. So we'll say please log in to add a bookmark. Alright, and then up here we want to add another field, put a comma right here, and we're going to say owner, and we're going to set it to meteor dot user ID. Okay, that way the actual listing, the bookmark, has the user ID. Now in order to use Meteor, we have to import it, so let's go up here and import it. Alright, we'll save that. Now since we added that owner field, we have to go to our typings and go to bookmark d.ts, and we need to add that. Okay, so owner, and we want to put a question mark there and then set that to be a string and then save it and close. Now we're going to go to our details TS, and let's import Meteor up here. Alright, and then we're going to add a property here. We're going to add a property called isOwner, and we're going to set that to false right here. And then let's go right under where we have the bookmark ID, and we're going to create a variable called current and set it to bookmarks dot find one, pass in that ID. Actually, that should be this dot bookmark ID. And then we want to do a check to see if the current user is the owner of the current bookmark. So we'll say current dot owner is equal to meteor dot user ID. Then we're going to set this dot isOwner. We're going to set that to true. Alright, so we set it to false initially, and then we check to see if the user is a match. If it is, then this dot isOwner is going to equal true. And then the last thing I want to do on this page is down in update bookmark, we just want to make sure the user is logged in once again. So we'll say if meteor dot user ID, then we'll take this, cut that out, and let's do else. Okay, if the user is not logged in, we'll just alert. Save that. And now what we want to do is go into the view, and remember, if we're the the owner, then this is owner is true. So let's test for that from within the HTML. So right here, we're going to put in a div and say ngIf. And all we need to test for is owner. All right, let's save it. All right, so let's see. Let's actually delete everything here, because as it is, that there's no owner included in any of those. And then what I'll do is sign out, and then sign back in as test@test.com. And then let's add one. We'll say Facebook. Okay, submit. And if I was to click that, you can see we have the form down here to update it. Now if I was to log out, sign out, click on Facebook, there's no form. If I was to log in as someone else, let's say test2, and we go to Facebook, still no form. Okay, so now we can only update it if we're that user that actually added it. Alright, so I think that we're going to stop here. Now obviously this probably isn't an application you would have in production, but I think it's a good example to show you how to bridge Angular 2 with Meteor, and hopefully it wasn't too complicated to understand, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next project.